Now, the two sick teams of Manchester are really going to be holding one another. Why are they the two sick teams of Manchester? Manchester United, Ruben Amorim coming in control. The previous two games, he has registered losses. That is known all over the world. The side of Manchester City, in the last 10 games, they've gone ahead to win 1, drawn 2, and lost 7. That is Manchester City for you. So even in the midweek, they went ahead, obviously lose to Juventus by 2-0. And Manchester United, a side that looked very ugly on the evening, went ahead to see to it that they really came from behind to win by 2-1 in Czech Republic, as we went ahead obviously play Victoria Pleasant in a very disgusting display that was not worthy calling in for 3 points. But it's always another tactic and another positive that even if you play ugly, you win. So welcome to the United Matters channel. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rock and David. Smash like button, comment and share. If you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Now, Man United comes into this game of football when they are placed on what position on the table? Let me see. United is 13th with 19 points, right? Then Man City is 15th is 4th with 27 points. And for Man City, it's really very important because Arsenal have drawn and Liverpool have gone ahead to draw points today, meaning that if they win, Man City will be at 30 points, meaning that they'll be level with Arsenal, 1 point behind Chelsea before Chelsea plays Brentford as the last game of the day, and they'll be 6 points behind Liverpool, meaning that they are going to come in this game of football in a very beautiful shape altogether to obviously find themselves into the winning ways. And I'm really laughing at everyone who is like, Man City is really weak. If you've gone ahead obviously watch the games that Man City have been playing lately, you know what it is. Man City have gone ahead obviously put in a very good shift, but the problem is they are not scoring goals. They always have the lion's share of the possession, but they are not obviously breaking the enemy line. You understand? So that is what Man City is being rigid when it comes obviously scoring goals. But if you happen to play like how United is going to be playing, I tell you Man City will come and obviously annihilate us. But if we obviously get everything right, we might obviously cause havoc to the side of City in the remaining times of the of that game that you're going to be playing at Manchester. And the last time we played there, the game ended 3-1. You remember it was 1-0. Marcus Rashford went ahead obviously score a thriller at the beginning of the first half, and then later in the 56th minute, Foden went ahead to level up. In I think the 86th minute, Foden went ahead to obviously make it. Was it the 76th minute? Foden made it to 1, and then Amrabat went ahead to obviously lose possession, and Rodri went ahead to release Erling Haaland, and Erling Haaland made it 3-1. So the only revenge was when we played them into the FA Cup. We beat them, and guess what? In the Community Shield, the game ended in penalties, and we lost, I think, on penalties. Was it 4-3 or 4-2? I don't really recall very well. But Amorim comes into this game of football when he has just beaten Man City in Sporting Lisbon 4-1. You understand and remember that very well. He went ahead and beat City by 4-1. But I told you that being at your stadium, if this game was at Old Trafford, when Man City was in this form, I would have come out and told you that sure win for the club of Manchester United. But when they are playing at Etihad, I think it's a little bit hard to obviously pin that side of Man City. It's really going to be hard for us if you are to get a result. But I would love us to get a win. That is it. In every game, I would like to see United get a win, but things don't work that way, People are really very anticipative to watch this game of football to see which kind of Ruben Amorim is really going to come up into this encounter, having gone ahead obviously beat the side of Man City way back in his second last game. Was it his second last game? I think it was his second last game at Sporting Lisbon. He beat them by 4-1. And in this particular one, obviously, it's really going to be a derby. And a derby calls in for a lot. And I think Ruben Amorim is preparing his team well to see how it's really going to cope up with what the side or with the requirements of this particular game of football. Now, let's go to the injuries. For Manchester United, it's Luke Shaw, John Evans. Those two are really out. You understand? But the rest of the players are readily available. For Man City, they don't have Oscar Bob, one. Man City doesn't have Rodri. You get? John Stones is really doubtful. And there is another player that they don't really have. Manuel Ekanji, unspecific. And Nathan Ake is really having a thigh injury. So those are the players that are expected to be out of this Man City side. You know, Mateo Kovacic is back for the side of Man City, so they might obviously line up in a proper way with at least a proper player shielding that back four, because their big problem has been them missing Rodri throughout the recently played games, because went ahead obviously get an ACL injury. That is I think he got that ACL injury when they're playing against Chelsea. So ever since then, he has been ruled out until further notice. Most people say it's really going to keep him out until the end of the season. Something that I don't really have good knowledge about, but we're waiting to see how things are really going to be panning out for this side of Man City. So those are the players of City that are really going to be out. Now, what does that lead us to? It takes us to what we call the probable starting 11 for the club of Manchester United. The combined 11 is going to be coming up in the morning, right? So keep your eyes onto the screen. The system is 3-4-2-1 system. Looks like the manager is really rigid and is not going to change anything in his style of play. He's like, this is my style of play. I'm not going to change nothing into this system. And in goal, having gone ahead to obviously make a mistake as we played against Victoria Pleasant that went ahead to cost us. Andre Onana, I think, is really gonna maintain his position into this encounter, and we know to it that he has gone ahead to keep his 6 clean sheet this season, and he's really doing good. And people are like judging him because of one mistake, and this is where I obviously tell people that then football is not meant for you. No human is perfect. Every human will at one point make a mistake, you get? But the problem is, if you consistently keep on doing mistakes, you know, that's the problem, because no one is mistake prone or error prone in the game of football, in the lives that we live. We all make mistakes. Now, 3 central defenders in. On the right side of the 3-man central defense, I think it's gonna be Mazarawi. So, Lisandro Martinez will obviously play onto the left side of the 3-man central defense. I told you one thing about this guy, that if he was there when playing against Arsenal, United would have had a chance to obviously create something special, because this Arsenal side plays a high press, and they invite pressure. And this guy is really press resistant, and there is no way you'll find yourself in a position of really losing out onto that. On the right side of the 3-man central defense, Mazarawi, I know he's really gonna maintain his position into that back 3, because when we played Lenny Yoro against Nottingham Forest, you saw how rusty he was, meaning that the manager never even trusted him to obviously give him a piece of minutes into the game we played in Victoria Pleasant. So Mazarawi, I know he's really gonna start. And at the center of the 3-man central defense, I tell you, like him or hate him, he's the best performing defender at Manchester United. That is Matthias De Ligt. Do you know why the media is not giving him his flowers? Because they went ahead, obviously slate him before he even kicked a ball for the club of Manchester United. They regarded him as fat, injury prone. He is really overrated, but he's obviously silencing everyone. That's why you see to it that he plays at the heart of that 3-man central defense. And the way he passes the ball is really incredible. And just go out and really check out for his stats and compare him with those defenders that you think are really the best in the Premier League. You know, this guy is really one of the best. So watch him out. I tell you, watch him out, because he's really doing great stuff into the mix. Now, we go to the midfield 3. Now, when you're playing against Victoria Pleasant, the manager went ahead to obviously do exactly what we've always gone ahead to call out him for to do. And guess what he did? He got Amad Diallo and played him in a 10, and Diallo played as a right wing back. And I maintain that I maintain that shape. You know, I played Diallo as a right wing back for the club of Manchester United. I tell you that. Then On the left side of the wing back, or the left wing back, I go with Tyrell Malacia. I tell you, I go with Tyrell Malacia because we need to obviously have that defensive shape very, very composed and do it like we did it against Arsenal. In the first half against Arsenal, we played very well, but we never really used our possession to obviously go ahead and obviously threaten our opponent. That is it. Like creating chances, because we only had, did we even have a shot on target in the first half? You know, that's where possession loses sense, because if you don't use that possession to obviously kill off games, then it is useless. So this time around, let's keep that shape, you know, let's keep that shape. And this time around, we are having Lisandro Martinez there. You know, it's really a very huge boost as we head into this game of football, because he can really do something that I think can threaten Man City with his technical abilities on the ball. Then in the central midfield, I know Manuel Ugarte is really going to start in the double pivot alongside Kobbie Mainoo. And for Manuel Ugarte, he came on and played, I think, was it like 20 minutes? Then Kobbie Mainoo never kicked a ball. And looks like these are the soldiers that the manager is really looking at to patrol his double pivot when we are playing against the team of Man City. That is tomorrow at the Etihad Stadium. So with that shape, I think we can really do the needful. Ugarte will win those interceptions and blocks. His passing is really elite. He can even do that additive job of really helping, or on really overloading the final third when you're really having that ball into the mix. Now we go to the 2 10s that are really going to be playing into this system. All in all, I know Amadi Diallo is going to be played as one of the 10s, because you saw to it that in the game of Victoria Pleasant, when Ahmad was played nearer to the goal, you saw how many chances he created. You know, the first goal, he was involved there, and then you saw how many times he was a threat to that side of Victoria Pleasant. Now, with the side of City playing that high line, if you're having a player like Ahmad, very good on the ball, press resistant, his skill set enables him to skip past any player, you know, that means that you really have an edge of really killing off this side of Man City. So I really anticipate that we play Amadi Diallo into that position. Now, for Bruno Fernandes, I don't want to see him played in the double pivot, because you miss out on a lot on him when he's being played in the double pivot. I was really chatting with one of my friends known as Alan. You can follow him on TikTok. He's Alan United. And I told him I would rather play, like, if the manager thinks of playing Bruno in a double pivot, then let's get Kobbie Mainoo to be played as a 10, because we all know to it that when he was still playing with Alejandro Garnacho, Ethan Whitley, name it, obviously, and the likes of the Fosun Amari, this side of Man United used to play Kobbie Mainoo as a 10, but Erik ten Hag brought him as an 8, or a box-to-box midfielder, because of his qualities on the ball, you know. But in the game of City, I would play those two, you know. I know Bruno Fernandes will be a threat. When he's playing the double pivot, his positional sense is really bad. And when you're playing a tactical manager like Pep Guardiola, he can use Bruno Fernandes's positional indiscipline to obviously haunt us. And you know, that double pivot, as you see it there, it shields this back three. If you are not really careful and you don't really mind on which position you play, you can find yourself in a position of really getting exposed. And who is leading the line? Obviously, the man that scored a brace. That is Rasmus Hojlund. Looks like he's sharp. He has 5 goals in 6 games of the UEFA Europa League. And he has also gone ahead to register an assist into the mix. That is Rasmus Hojlund for you. So, for Manchester United, all I wish is us to have that starting 11, probable, moreover. And when it really gives us fruits, you'll thank me later. Because I know this team can go at City and threaten City, you know. Because City don't have their best players and they're not into their best form. So, if they're not in their best form, I tell you, it's going to be hard for them to obviously come against us. Now, let's obviously get into the probable City starting 11. Now, Ederson is expected to be in the stitches. Walker, right back. Vadio, left back. Diaz, right-sided centre-back. Simpson Pussy, left-sided centre-back. Then Kevin De Bruyne, Kovacic, and Bernardo Silva in the midfield three. Then Foden, right forward. Haaland leading the line, and Nunes being played as a left forward. That's how we anticipate City to obviously come up and line up when they're taking on the club of Manchester United. So, I don't know what your thoughts are about this beautiful encounter as United plays against City, but I'm going to obviously tell you what my mind really tells me about that side. Now, as we get into the prediction, I always bring you what we call the head-to-head stats. Manchester City have won 5 of their last 6 Premier League games against Manchester United. 1 loss, more than they had in the previous 13. 4 wins, 3 draws, and 6 losses. Secondly, Manchester United have lost each of their last 3 league away games against Man City, conceding 13 goals in process. They last lost 4 consecutive league visits to the citizens in 1952 and 1955. 3. Man United have lost 20 Premier League games against Man City. Only against Arsenal have they lost 21. They lost more in the competition. Fourthly, Man City have conceded at least twice in 7 of their last 11 Premier League games, right? As many times as they had in their previous 62 in the competition. Lastly, Man United have lost both of their last 2 Premier League games, last losing 3 in a row with a single season in December 2015 under Louis van Gaal. New manager Ruben Amorim is yet to lose 3 on the bounce in his top-flight managerial career, with this his 172nd such match across Portuguese Premier La Liga and England's Premier League. So that's what you're really getting into from the side of Google as far as the stats are really concerned. But my prediction, I think the best we can get from this result is a draw. And I also call in for a draw, like a 2-2, 3-3 draw. But a United win when it comes in through, I think United to win 10%, City to win 30%. I give a draw 60%. You know, I think this game is having a draw written all over it. That is it. I don't see anything further we can force from this game, because you cannot trust these players of Manchester United, because if they had the right mentality, you would really bench all back on them to see to either obviously put in a very beautiful shift, but they are not. You know, you saw how they played against Victoria Pleasant. Their body language was really very poor, and it really sent a message to everyone that they are not ready to obviously put in a shift for the club of Manchester United. And in a derby like this, who needs it more goes ahead and wins it. And what is it all about on who wins it, on who needs it more? It's all about your body language, your intensity, the way you run, who wins the second balls, you know, whose mindset really keeps in line. Because in games like this, if you switch off for a second, I tell you what, you won't really like it. I tell you this. You switch off for a second, you won't really like it. Your opponent will obviously capitalize onto your brain losing concentration, and he will obviously hit it hard and really cost you that game of football. So that is the side known as Manchester United, and that's what we think about this beautiful encounter. So I've called in for a draw. I don't know what your predictions are for this encounter in here. So I call in for your predictions into the comment section below. But Man United is taking on Man City at the Etihad. You know, it has always not been easy. And for those that have just gone ahead obviously to watch Man City, even when they were not a strong side, City used to be a very hard nut to crack for the side of Manchester United. You know, when they really had the Gotas, Sean Wright-Phillips, even before they brought in the Robinhos of this world, you know, they were a hard side to play against. You understand? Nikola Anelka was there a little bit before he crossed to go to Chelsea. So it was really a side that never had enough quality, but their mentality when they're playing against Manchester United was always elevated. So 2-2 draw That's what I'm calling in for. But if a win comes in through for Manchester United, I'll be shocked, by the way. And a win for Man City, I won't be shocked because they need it like no other. Remember, Arsenal and Liverpool have gone ahead to obviously drop points. When City win, they'll be 6 points behind Liverpool. You understand? So they'll be like, let's go for this. Maybe there is a chance. I'm out. Bye-bye.